Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all have Porsches, I must make amends. Worked all my life, no savings from my friends. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? And it is absolutely nasty out, everybody. It is yucky. But we're gonna do a video anyways. Welcome to News Humor. If it doesn't make you laugh, it'll make you cry. Alright. Well, y'all are probably wondering what we are doing in my car, because we probably haven't done this before, but I said on my radio show, I think this past week, and maybe the one that I was invited on as well, that if I saw one more cop come out and talk about how they're going to defend the Constitution and they're going to fight for what's right, that I would make a video about it. And last night when I was going to bed, when I was trying to get my meditative time, I saw that video. So I'm going to go through a couple of clips here with y'all while I'm driving, because, well, I don't really have any other time to do this. So I'm sorry if I'm not paying attention directly to the camera, but I gotta pay attention to the road. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody else on the road appreciates that with me. Anyways, let's get right into it.
My name is Michael Seney. I wanted to make a quick video after seeing one recently from a fellow police officer who pointed out and was very verbal about his thoughts that I believe many of us share. I decided to make my own video, encourage others to do the same. What we've seen in recent months is none other than what I believe is going to be viewed as one of the biggest power grabs in American history. We've seen the Constitution seemingly suspended and constitutional rights of citizens tossed aside under the guise of safety and security, something that we've seen before as well. You know, I swore an oath to the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I stand on that oath, and I will continue to stand on that oath, and there is not a human being that can alter my oath between myself and the Constitution, myself and God.
Well, man, I would have to say I do agree with you, and not only do I agree with you, but I appreciate the fact that you're coming out. And if you don't know the other officer that he's talking about, he's actually going to come up next because he got fired. Now, I just wish for the public to notice that this man is talking about, we know where this goes. We know what happens when there is a power grab for our rights. Not only have we seen it in recent times, but historically, it's kind of obvious what happens when the government starts power grabbing the rights of the people who enacted that government in the first place. Anyways, let's get to the next officer, because the video that this man was responding to, that officer got fired for. And I just wish to listen to a little clip and then just talk about it for just a second. I really respect what you guys are doing. I really appreciate it. I know for the past 5 years, you guys, if y'all would have seen me at a courtroom, you might have looked at me like I was on the other side of the fence or something. But I've been seeing this coming. I've been in and out of court for years helping people, and I am glad that you good men are stepping up to the plate and telling the public what they need to hear. Thank you.
In the state of Washington then. And here's my thoughts on that, okay? You have to do your research. You have to figure out what your true north is, what your truth is, and where you stand on issues. For me personally, I believe that the Constitution supersedes all other documents, all other laws. There's case law supporting that. If you look at Marbury versus Madison, 1803, it says any future laws created that are repugnant, meaning in conflict with the Constitution, are null and void. So when I look at how I feel comfortable enforcing the law, and I see people exercising constitutional rights, it doesn't matter if there's different executive orders, requests from mayors, requests from governors. To me, the Constitution supersedes that, and I'm going to stand with the people. Well, unfortunately, higher up in all agencies, there's a political game being played, and now I am on a administrative leave status pending termination. I was told by both the agency and the union that I was asked to take it down, and I refused. So that's refusing a direct order. It's an insubordination charge, and it will result in me ultimately being let go from the agency. And I said, you know what? If that's what you guys have to do, if that video is so bad that you want to take my career from me and you want to leave my, potentially take my ability away to provide for my family because of that video, do it. Because I'm going to stand by my convictions, just like I said in my last video.
Greg Anderson, man, I got a lot of respect for you, brother. As you can tell by the start of this video, I'm in a Mercedes-Benz. I used to make a lot more money before I had a son. But when I had a son about 8 years ago, I realized that I had to do something to make sure that he had rights in his future. And that has been my mission every day since. And I really hope that a man of your integrity will come and join me on that mission. I really, really appreciate the fact that you kind of got this whole conversation started. I think it's awesome. But you and the other officer talk about constitutional rights, and they are actually different than what you believe they are. And I'm going to get into that and actually have a judicial officer tell you this, a magistrate officer. So, not like a judge, but like a lower judge. And even just that step, they know exactly what's going on, and they know that you guys have been breaking constitutional law for years. And in my opinion, they're the ones to blame, because they're the ones who have been perpetrating it. And I'm not saying that all judges are bad. I'm not against all judges. I'm just against bad judges. So let me just be really clear about that. I've been in a lot of courtrooms and I have seen some miraculous things. But I've also been in a lot of courtrooms and I've seen some horrific things. So, anyways, let's keep going. I got the next video that's coming up is about the officer. This is the video I saw last night, and I recorded the whole 5 minutes. I'm going to talk about different things, but it will be chopped up. You're not going to see the whole 5 minutes. I will link all of these videos in the description below. Thanks. Stick around, because you're about to hear me argue with the magistrate judge after this video.
I solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio, and the laws and ordinances of the political subdivision to which I am appointed, and to the best of my ability will discharge the duties of this office. The military oath says to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States of America. That is the entire Constitution, not just portions of it, to include the first 10 amendments, which of course we know as the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights guarantees most of the freedoms that we enjoy as American citizens. The right to assemble, the right to free speech, the right to practice our religion. And The reason I'm talking about all of this is because I'm becoming troubled because of things that I'm seeing in the news lately, where I feel like many of our basic freedoms are being infringed, if not outright denied. Many times people are looking to the police to enforce these policies that are being presented, and I want to point out to everyone that our oath to the citizens we serve is to protect their constitutional rights. Again, I'm pointing this all out because we don't have to look very far into history to see where ill-conceived notions by the political powers that be at any time in the past looked to the police, or I should say those policymakers looked to the police to enforce those ill-conceived policies. And again, we don't have to look very hard to see the disastrous consequences that came as a result of some of those enforcement actions.
So, I really enjoyed that gentleman speaking last, and I would just like to bring up a couple of things. I was actually going to bring this little piece of knowledge in my next video about the Constitution and how the Constitution reads in that series, and if I didn't link it before, I will link it up here. But the Bill of Rights is not part of the Constitution. In fact, they call it a Bill of Rights. And if you know what a bill is, if you ever watched that little cartoon about a bill on Capitol Hill when you were a kid like I did, then you would know that a bill is a piece of legislation that has not passed yet. Bill of Rights are not where your rights come from. Your rights come from the divine will of God. And if you don't believe in God, then your rights come from what our founders called natural law, which is the only law that was created by God that can be found by reason alone. And with that in mind, I just wish to once again say thank you to every man wearing the uniform in the video that I presented right now. Again, the last video, he was talking about policy and how the policy makers wish for the police to enforce that policy. The policy makers created the police to enforce that policy. That's why you're no longer peace officers. Okay? Back in the mid-late 1800s, they would have been peace officers. They would have been people out there to keep the peace in the public. Now it's police because it's a policy enforcer. If you just change that Y to an E, policy, police. It's really that simple. Now, I feel bad for the police and the men and women acting in that position because they really don't know. They don't know the truth of what's going on, and they don't know how much they're being lied to. And I'm about to play an audio right now of me arguing with the magistrate judge. And then I will explain how they're being lied to. He doesn't understand the charges. He never said he didn't agree to be under the laws of the state. He says he doesn't understand the charges.
Oh, okay.
See, he might comprehend that some people would get together and say, hey, we should lock people up for doing nothing wrong. But he doesn't understand why anybody would wish to lock him up when he hasn't done any harm, injury, or wrong to anybody. And if he has, he just wishes to make it right immediately.
I get that argument. It's just that, let me explain that to you, which might help you understand how you're not going to get any help from anybody who works for this state, because we have all sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and of the state of North Carolina. So, and the Constitution and laws include laws against selling marijuana.
Okay.
Which I understand the argument about there not being any harm, but that doesn't matter because that's a law.
Okay, so you swore an oath to uphold the laws of the United States, like the United States Constitution.
Correct.
Correct. In Article 1, Section 10, it says that no state can make law to impair the right or the obligations of private contracts. that man has the right to privately contract with his fellow man. So what do you
But it can't be a one-sided contract.
How is it a one-sided contract?
Well, the contract that you're talking about selling marijuana,
How is that a one-sided contract?
because he's offering to sell it and the person didn't want to buy it. So the
What if
contract
somebody
wasn't made.
called him up? I mean, I don't know anybody who just walks around with marijuana and says, "Hey, you gotta buy this marijuana." Typically,
I don't know.
typically
either.
people who sell marijuana have other people who call them and say, "Hey, I wish to buy
Is that
a
what happened here?
product from you."
Is that what happened in this case?
I have no clue what happened
Well,
in
the,
this case.
The person that did not buy it was a wildlife officer, so I hope that he wasn't having
He
all
didn't
that.
offer to sell it to the wildlife officer.
It doesn't matter. The point is, no deputy, no clerk is going to come over there and preside over a court.
So that was very interesting. Maybe you wish to go back and listen to it again. But when I brought up the contract clause to the Constitution, she immediately recognized that there was a contract to purchase marijuana. And if that means she recognized there was a contract to purchase marijuana, she also recognizes that she swore an oath. She swore an oath to the Constitution which says no state can write any law that impairs the obligation of private contracts. She can't proceed against him on distributing marijuana. And that's a constitutional right. And it doesn't come from the Bill of Rights. And if you read the Constitution very, very carefully, it has every single right encumbered in it before you even get to the Bill of Rights. In my opinion, the Bill of Rights were just a distraction. It was just a distraction. Anyways, I really hope that people learn from this. I hope that more police officers come out and speak up. I hope that more attorneys come out and speak up. Sidney Powell, I really respect you and really appreciate the fact that you had the courage to write License to Lie. I'm sure that that was not easy for your career. Anyways, if you guys don't know about my other channel, it's called Just Conspiracy, where I just wish to conspire with other good people of this planet to leave a better world for future generations than the world we all grew up in. If you're interested in this law stuff, I would recommend going and checking it out. Anyways, that's about it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Pass this around because YouTube won't. YouTube won't. If you wish for freedoms for your children and their children, you should pass this around like it's the last can of beans. 2 years from now, this pandemic goes real south. Pass it around. If you don't pass it, nobody else will. We have the government that we created, and we can change it and create it to be different. Hey, it's JC here from the JC and Shaman Show. And if you stand for rights, you should be standing with us. If you stand for black, white, yellow, brown rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for women's rights, men's rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for gay rights, lesbian rights, you should stand with us. If you stand for the right to carry a firearm in public, open carry, to defend yourself and defend your family because you don't know when something will happen and a cop might not be around, you should stand with us. Because these rights don't matter anything if a court of law will not hold them up. So it doesn't matter what the legislature says, it doesn't matter what the statutes are. If you cannot have your rights upheld in a court of law, you do not have them. They took my body and threw it in a cage for 2 days, taking me away from my family and my home. And the state will not do anything unless you, the public, make them do something about it. And if you think that it's okay that they did this to me, you're gonna be next. If you go to church and you don't stand with us, you're allowing evil to win. You're not standing for Yahweh, the Father, the Creator. If you love Mel Gibson movies and you don't stand with us, you're a hypocrite. If you celebrate the 4th of July and freedom and ice cream and apple pie and you don't stand with us, you're lying to yourself. I love you people, and I love all of the police officers and all of the clerks. I just wish that you would do the right thing. Thank you.
American nation, and our rights are being threatened by a tyrant 3,000 miles away.
Would you tell me, please, Mr. Howard, why should I trade one tyrant 3,000 miles away for 3,000 tyrants 1 mile away?